Hello, this is chapter 3 of React. I'm going to be the driver and Bhabha is going to be my navigator. Today we're going to be looking at chapter 3, which is bindings, props, states, and events. In this chapter, we'll be exploring displaying data by binding controls in a JSX template to properties of a React component and how we can apply CSS classes on styles dynamically and how to use that component state to handle events raised from the DOM elements. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is CSS class binding, right? So to do this, we are going to install React Bootstrap, and then our terminal, we're going to run npm install React Bootstrap to do that. And what you're going to get is the CDN link that we're supposed to use. So this link right here, and we're gonna link it as a style sheet, and we're gonna add it to our index.html in our public folder to get the latest styles. So what that's gonna look like in the code is like this. Yeah, so what it looks like is this style sheet link that we have here, right? And then after that, we are going to check if we installed our React Bootstrap correctly, and we're going to do that. We're going to add a button into our app component by adding the lines in bold. So in our app.js, as you can see here, we imported the button from React Bootstrap, and yeah, for now we have a button here. We'll get to this later. So what that's going to happen, or what that's going to do is display this button here, right? And then what we can do is that we can change the variant of the button. We can make it a danger, right? And that will change the color and the variant of the button. So if we want to disable the button by applying the disabled class, we can do the following. Go to the button, and just in the tag, the opening tag, you can just put disabled there, and that will disable the button. And there's more information on the Bootstrap website. So after disabling the button, we can disable the button on condition also. So suppose that we want to disable the button, but only if something happens. What we can do is that we can use this right here, is valid is to true, and then we're gonna change this in our source, in our open tag. We're gonna set disabled equals to not is valid, right, which is false. So now moving on to props. So we can pass data into a component by passing in a single object called props, right? So the props object, it contains a JSX attribute, and if we want to display a list of products with their rating, for example, we will need to assign the rating value to a rating component beforehand, and we can do something like this right here. As you can see here, we gave it a rating of like 3 or 2 or whatever, right? So props will contain the value of the 4 that is assigned to the rating attribute. To access props in our rating, we have to use props.rating, right? So here's an example here. We have this.props.rating, right? And in our app.js, we're gonna add this right here, which is the ratings that we have, right? And then we have a rating.js here, and that's where we have our props, right? So on our browser, it's going to show us this. It's going to display something like this, and when we call render, that's what's going to happen. So the thing about props is that they are read only, and you can access props in your components, but you must never modify them, because our functions must always be pure, which means that we mustn't attempt to change our input, and must always return the same result for the same input, right? So now I'm going to be improving the look of the rating that we have. So to show our rating stars, instead of just numbers, we can use React icons library from this link here, and then store it using this. So we just include the star, right? We import it into our React project, right? And this is going to be in the rating.js. So you can see we import it here, and then we're just gonna return this right here, right? And now we're gonna be moving on to conditional rendering. We conditionally render a field star if the props rating is greater than or equals to 1, or else it will only show we will dwell more on the if else conditional, right? So what we see here, that's for the first star, and the second star should be empty if the rating is less than 2, so it should be filled if the rating is more than equal to 2, right? So the same goes for the third, fourth, and the fifth star. So if I go back to my app.js, right, we can add a local state to a component. Now let's say we want our user to be able to change the rating by clicking on the specified star. So how do we make our rating component render when a user clicks? And to do this, we will have to add a state to our rating component. It is similar to a prop, right? And it looks like this, right? So if I go back here, as you can see, we have that super props, and it's passed to the base constructor with super props. And then after that, we are going to replace this props.rating with this state.rating, right, as you can see here. And then we're going to add all of this, and to handle events with states, we must assign rating depending on which star the user has clicked, right? So as you can see here, that's how we apply that. And when we run our app, what we're going to see is something that looks like this. And as you can see, that's what we have here, right? So in summary, this chapter we learned about CSS, class binding, props, adding local states, and handling events. In the next chapter, we'll see how to put multiple components together in an application. Thank you.